Should we do this opening like a drunk history one? We're just gonna like give our name and what we're gonna talk about.
Oh no, it's already started.
Oh. Oh, this is recording right now?
Oh!
I thought it'd be funnier if I just didn't tell you.
You did? Well, you
There's
should
no light on. So I didn't expect it to be, you know, on.
Okay, wait, when did you start that?
I don't know.
Did you start it before the strut?
No, yeah, I thought I started after the strut.
Ah, shit, man.
They missed it.
Don't worry, you'll get to see the strut
I started
later.
exactly 1 minute ago.
Hold on,
Okay.
wait,
Alright.
hold on. So for the fan fictions, can we hire people to be the characters?
Yeah, of course.
What's his face?
Diogenes, that's how you say his name.
Diogenes?
Let's talk
Would you
about
like to
Wizard
be
Dildos.
Diogenes?
Alright, let's talk about Wizard
can.
Dildos, folks. Alright, my name is Jason Justice, this is Ellen Love Templeton, and this
Ziv
is
Vixen.
Ziv Vixen.
Sterling Ruby.
Yes.
Same thing.
There's an on-running joke on the channel about a wizard dildo and getting over it. So I hired people to write fan fiction. This is that fan fiction.
Special shout out to
At Blue Sea Turtle.
Michaela E.
And
Morpher the Wolf. Thanks, Morpher the Wolf.
On fiverr.com.
at Fiverr. So if
Not
you ever
sponsored.
want them to write about more wizard dildos, or a wizard with a dildo, or whatever, then fucking...
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description.
Yeah, alright.
Anyway,
He said it. Alright, so...
take it away.
His name was Diogenes. An odd name, yes, perhaps, but oddly fitting, for he himself was an odd man. He wore no shirt, and it is up to his company on whether or not he wears pants. He sits in a large metal cauldron and maneuvers around with a large Yosemite hammer. He never speaks a word, but the strange voice in the sky talked plenty. So it was no problem. The voice identified itself as Bennett Foddy. Everyone hated him. His know-it-all accents, poetic tendencies, the list is long and boring. No one likes to acknowledge his existence in the sky, yet they all do at least every once in a while. They do. But we shall choose to ignore the voice and focus on our man in the pot himself, Diogenes. One day Diogenes was climbing a hill. Well, maybe not a hill, more like a mountain cliffside. On that, goat might climb a nearly 90-degree angle to lick up salt for. And there was even snow near the top. The air got thinner as he approached the top, but the man in the pot preserved. And, well, maybe not climbing. More so, he just kept swinging his pickaxe and hopping up in the pot, forgive me. It was all worth it, for at all the top of his hill/mountain was the great magic wizard's dildo. Diogenes didn't know this yet. He just liked climbing hard to get places. Hard.
God, I'm getting
It
hard.
seemed to be. Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh.
Here, take some Diet Dr. Pepper. Calm yourself
thank
down.
you.
It seemed to be a
Nothing makes me
reoccurring
flash
theme
like
in
Dr.
his
Pepper.
life. Hey, do not diss Dr. Pepper like that, you son of a bitch, okay? In fact, you get it now, okay? Okay?
Fuck you. Okay, fuck Mr.
Mr. Pim is God's here!
No, it is not!
yes,
Okay,
it is.
back on it, alright.
Okay.
He swung his hammer once more, flinging himself to the top of the cliff, breathing a breath of relief. Diogenes took in his surroundings. Before him stood a magnificent temple. The pillars, much to Diogenes' dismay, looked completely and utterly like massive dicks. They even had spheres at the bottom that had shrubbery around them. Dick and ball pillars, indubitably. The sign on the door read in... Yes, Michael?
No.
The sign on the door read in pretty swirly font, Dick's Place. Whether that meant the name of the person who lived here or an actual penis, this information was beyond him. Curiosity, of course, won over common sense, and Diogenes hopped over the door to knock on it. Before he could even raise a hand or a hammer to knock, a voice rang out. Man in the pot! Welcome to Dick's Palace! Yes, the door has a typo, we know! With that, the door swung open, and standing in the frame was another man. This man had literally no clothes on, but held a staff that looked suspiciously like a very long version of a wooden dildo. He was uncomfortably hairy. especially in places Diogenes had no business looking at.
Oh my
Still, Diogenes felt he had to stare and blink once comedically, for effect.
For a fact, of course.
My name is Robert Dickens. Have you come searching for the great magic wizard Zildo, oh great traveler in the pot?
He spread his arms wide, welcoming the motionless Diogenes.
Lord.
A moment of silence passes. The window blows comically with a short whoosh sound.
Ah! I see you are quite the type of people. No worries, sir. Please come inside.
The hairy nude man walked into the temple with his long dildo stick. Diogenes, with nothing better to do on his mind, swung his pick and hopped right along beside him. The minute they entered Dick's palace, Diogenes could feel the entire atmosphere shift. He paused to take in his surroundings.
Feel free to look around.
Robert Pete Dickinson shouted as he went ahead.
I'll be right back.
So Diogenes did just that. The first thing that caught his eye was the chandelier. He quickly caught on that Dick, balls, and peens might be a theme here. While the lighting fixture itself looked normal enough, many glass dicks of all shapes and sizes and colors dangled beneath it. It was oddly beautiful in its own way. The next most prominent feature of the room was the stained glass windows that had been covered in shrubbery or moss on the outside to really get a good look at it. On it, there was one main feature. A curvy, long, white outline of a dildo. Sparks! And colors flying off it like it was on fire, like a sparkler from the 4th of July. It was colorful as a fireworks show at a theme park, yet only still, glass image on a wall. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Ah, yes!
Robert Dickinson.
That stained glass portrait was created years ago. I made it after I found the greatest creation a man could find.
Diogenes spun around and his paused to face him. He was greeted with a 3D object of what he had just gazed at in the window.
This
He held out to him.
is for you, man in the pot. This is the great mage wizard's dildo.
Diogenes stuck out a hand to touch it.
Wait, don't touch.
Diogenes touched it. In fact, he grasped it. And the moment he did, he felt a whoosh of air come down on him, forcing his eyes closed. When he opened his eyes, well, you could say they weren't in Kansas anymore. No longer was he on a mountain at Dick P. Dick was gone. The great magic wizard dildo was still in his grasp, as was his pickaxe. He seemed to be in an open field. The nearly full moon was high above the tree line and in the distance, and there wasn't a cloud in sight. Even a shooting star appeared in the sky for dramatic effect.
For dramatic effect.
The self-aware is the best part.
Hello! A soft, smooth voice echoed in his head. Diogenes turned around. No one was there. He was utterly alone. Down here. In your hand.
Oh.
Diogenes looked down. The long, curvy, white dildo glowed. Diogenes, feeling crazy, turned the dildo over in his hand. It was smooth, but unnaturally curvy, almost like a tree branch might grow. An interesting shape for a phallic object indeed. Human man, you are holding the great magic wizard's dildo in your hands. Do you understand what this means for you? The voice echoed in his head, as if it were speaking in a boy's locker room, but where his brain was. Good imagery right there. Diogenes nodded. He quite enjoyed this voice too. It was smooth as butter. Almost what he might imagine might come out of the mouth of a hot butler.
Oh my god!
Alfred.
Alfred, stop!
Stop it.
So this
Get
is
out.
what happened after Bruce Wayne fired him.
I'm not so sure you do. What is your name? Diogenes did not speak, but he did think his name in his head, hoping it would suffice. Ah, Diogenes. Well, Diogenes, I am not just talking phallic object for your pleasure. I am all that and more. I am magical. If you use me and think of a wish or places you want to go,
Oh, Jesus.
I can choose to grant it or not. Depends. Diogenes laughed silently and rolls his eyes, skeptical. I see you are a disbeliever. Unfortunate. Let me sway you. I want you to believe in me. Give me a chance, Diogenes. Diogenes thought skeptically, found this entire situation far too funny not to oblige. So without hesitation or another moment's thought, Diogenes stuck the great magic wizard's dildo up his butt. Dot, dot, dot. Nothing happened. Diogenes, you did not think of a wish, the great magic wizard's dildo exclaimed, this time its voice a bit So Diogenes, smiling, thought of a wish and once more stuck the great magic widow's deep into his probably less than clean arse. He did hop around in a cauldron all day. How clean could it possibly be? You wish for something I never would have thought from your small brain, human. Come, the great magic wizard's dildo muffled, echoing voice. But I do like this, so I shall grant it. Poof! They were once again transported, this time to the moon! Diogenes somehow had no trouble breathing, nor did his body instantly freeze and crumble. Diogenes pulled the great mage wizard dildo out and helped him up, smiling with glee. Are you?
Are you giving visuals?
Yeah, she's been giving visuals since Diogenes used the dildo the first time.
Diogenes, you wish to be free. You wish to visit the moon. And you wish to be immune to death caused by anything that is naturally occurring to your body. You are a strange one. You are also quite smart. I am pleased. I may even let you wish more if you so please it. But understand this, it is easy for a man to become drunk with power. So I will have to be careful and thoughtful from this point on in granting your wishes. Wait. Listen to me! Diogenes shoved the unlocked penis back up now in his stretched hole. You wish for the moon horse, moon dog, moon mountain to climb, and an infinite supply of moon food to keep you nourished? The great magic wizard dildo exclaimed quizzically. Diogenes started thrusting the great magic wizard's dildo in and out, creating speed and rhythm. Diogenes, please wait for a moment! The voice cut out. Diogenes froze. Standing in front of him now was a tall man with long, flowy black hair. His pastel skin glowed in the moonlight. His face showed sadness. His clothes were torn and ragged. His sandals were barely holding together on his feet. He looked up, or perhaps down, to Diogenes in the pot. The moment his eyes focused, they widened in pure, unbridled joy.
Bridal.
Are you doing okay there, bud?
Diogenes. The man stuttered, froze into the place he stood. Now it was Diogenes' turn for his eyes to widen in disbelief. Standing before him was his long-lost father.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Dad?
Van Hohenheim. Van Hohenheim. Van Hohenheim.
Van Hohenheim.
Where are we?
Hohenheim.
Hohenheim. The H word. Anyway, the great mage wizard's dildo now
It's too
spoke
H.
to both men in his hands. Yes, Diogenes, you wish for happiness. Well, here he is, your long-lost father, Van Ho. Here, he's been traveling and searching for you for years, just as you have been climbing and scavenging for him as well. You both just lost your ways and forgot your goals after years of wandering.
Is this
Hohenheim, take a step forward. Oh, sorry, that's not in the voice. Hohenheim took a step forward, beckoning to his long-lost son. Son. Why are you in a pot?
Oh my god!
Diogenes pulled the great magic wizard dildo out and held it with a very tight grip. No. He smiled, then hopped over to his father to hug him. It was a very awkward hug. The angle wasn't ideal and he was holding a dildo and a pickaxe whilst embracing his long-lost father. I've missed you, Diogenes. I love you so much, and poof! Just like that, his dad disappeared once more. You see, Diogenes, happiness is not forever.
Oh!
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right for wish casting
As is it
things.
ever so fleeting, I gave you happiness. You did not specify for how long, though. The great magic wizard's dildo spat. Now perhaps you will use my gracious powers more thoughtfully and carefully. Diogenes blinked slowly. Then he shrugged. He figured he'd spent a lifetime without a father. What more? The great magic wizard's dildo was right. He needed to be more careful. Even though the great magic wizard's dildo could not emote as he had no face, his silence easily portrayed disbelief at Diogenes' reaction. You are one very strange man, Diogenes. Shall we adventure together? Prove to me you are worth granting wishes. Diogenes nodded slowly. Then once more proceeded to shove the great magic wizard's dildo up his buttocks. His grin was one that some may call shit-eating. But the great magic wizard's dildo knew none the wiser. It had been a year since Diogenes had met the great magic wizard's dildo. Diogenes still had not even muttered a single word the whole time the great magic wizard dildo knew him. It had tried to achieve word out of his mouth, but for an unknown reason, Diogenes still never spoke a word. They now find themselves in a tower overlooking the ocean. Diogenes was quickly informed that this tower was called a lighthouse. You see, Diogenes, you wish for a quiet, lonely place, one that might never be happened upon a humankind, but nothing underground or in the skies or outer space. So I have found you an abandoned lighthouse that somehow still has power, heat, water, and food. Why is it you wish for such a place, Diogenes? The echoey voice was much more relaxed and comfortable with its human. As it should be. One might even say that they were now friends. Friends. The adventures they'd been on with the wish the great magic wizard dildo granted over the years, they were indescribable. In response to the great magic wizard dildo question, Diogenes beckoned to a rocking chair in the corner of the room, next to a lit fireplace and a table stand that had a laptop on it as well as a freshly brewed cup of coffee. You wish to relax? Diogenes shook his head. No. You wish for my freedom. You do realize I'm not a genie. I could leave whenever I want. Or at least stop making your wishes come true whenever I wanted. There was a long pause. The fire crackled and they could hear the ocean waves outside. It was calming, or could have been had the conversation been going on a bit better. You don't mean... You don't want me anymore? Diogenes let out a low sigh, hanging his head, dismay, sadness, disappointment? It was hard to say how he was really feeling. You're getting tired of me? You just want to mountaineer and climb random hills and mountains? Really? After all this time? After everything we've been through? After all the adventures we've been on? All the wishes I granted? Yeah! The great magic wizard nearly screamed into his echoing chamber of speech in Diogenes' head. Diogenes just calmly nodded, then holding the white, oblong dildo out, he pecked a small kiss onto the side of it. Wait, Diogenes, please. You can't just leave me here. Diogenes swung his pickaxe and hopped over to the rocking chair by the fire. He set the great magic wizard dildo down. Wait, please, Diogenes, I've always... The moment his hands lost contact with the dildo, the great magic wizard's dildo voice cut out, like an audio file being cut out on a loudspeaker. Diogenes stared at it. At a moment, a single tear falling down his cheek. Then, with a swing of his pickaxe, both hands grasping its handle tightly again once more, he started hopping and claying his way out. It was a good thing he had also wished for an escaped pirate ship to help get back to land. That was the last Diogenes saw of the great magic wizard's dildo. Or was it? No, that's it.
Holy shit balls!
Well done. Well done.
This is... I hope you don't want this video monetized. Kayla, that's amazing!
At Blue Sea Turtle,
You're killing it.
yeah, that was fantastic.
God.
I apologize if I ruined your trying to
What's
be
your English
semi-serious with my random voices, but it felt right. So anyway, up next we have here the lovely Ellen Love Templeton. Oh, see what I did there? Oh.
I don't think I'll ever get over it. But that last one, it was very good.
Okay. And since she so gratefully acted out the
Please do
the
not.
beat of the last one, I will
No.
be acting out this one. So
Just to clarify, I gave the prompt of it's from getting over it with Bennett Foddy. There has to be a wizard dildo. These are two separate stories. That was the only context I gave.
well,
So they
This is your fault.
They pulled all of that out of their ass.
Yeah. Oh my!
Yeah.
I know.
I swear to God.
Just like the wizards.
I said there had to be Diogenes in it. That was the.
God damn it, I hate you.
Okay.
That was the funniest thing.
all right.
Hold on. Would you like to be Diogenes? Would you like to be his thoughts?
Sure, I'll be his thoughts.
I'll be a thought.
Okay.
I already am a thought.
I know.
I'm gonna sell my bath water, only $9.99.
I'm gonna sell mine for $8. Competition.
There wasn't a decimal inside of that statement. Alright, anyway, let's get to the...
Okay, so this is Getting Over It with a Wizard's Dildo. With a Wizard Dildo by Morpher the Wolf.
Another day, another rocky bluff to climb.
Diogenes thought. He couldn't quite remember just how long he had been climbing, and how many times he had set himself back. He was running out of supplies, and his legs could no longer carry him. Ever resourceful, however, he decided to use his Herculean strength to simply lift himself along the remainder of his supplies, which, at this point, was honestly just a cauldron large enough for him to sit in. He prided himself on his cleverness in handling the situation. Still, he knew he could not rest. He could not stop on his quest to search for food, water, or even clothing aside from the cauldron he wore. No, instead he knew he had to continue his quest. He would continue to climb rock after rock, all the way to space if he had to, all in search of one thing. The wizard dildo of Einhanda.
Of Einhand?
Yes.
Einhanda, yeah.
Einhanda.
Of one
The
hand.
wizard
of one
dildo of
handing.
Einhanda.
The wizard dildo of one handing.
Oh my god. He knew that once he could obtain that, his problems
German.
would be solved.
We'll find it one day.
He thought without saying to his cauldron. He thought about saying to his... Wait, hold up, repeat.
We'll find it one day.
He thought about saying to his cauldron, but Diogenes was not the man to speak to inanimate objects. So he did not say that, in fact. So he did not, in fact, say that. Instead, he simply carried on, moving his arms to try to hook his hammer around another crag. He didn't always have the greatest control over his arms, as he found himself moving his hammer back and forth, flailing it around wildly and nearly knocking himself back down the mountain, as he previously spent.
So I didn't mean to get Dr. Pepper on you.
No problem.
There's a leak in the bottle.
It's realistic.
Wouldn't happen if it was Pip.
Yes,
Oh,
it would.
Flailing it around.
You can do it.
Flailing it around wildly and nearly knocking himself back down the mountain he had already previously spent all afternoon trying to climb before finally hooking it onto the spot he needed. Once he had the head anchored down. Once he had the head anchored down, he swung himself upwards, landing with as much grace as one could land while seated in a cauldron.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And there, on the rocky ledge, he saw it. The thing he had been searching for all this time. At first, he thought it might have been a snake. In a state of panic, he swung his hammer forward and launched himself backwards. As he held further and further down the mountain, he thought about what he had just seen and realized it was not actually a snake. Regret and shame filled him to his very core as the world around him seemed to move in slow motion. Then, he felt all too familiar. He felt an all too familiar thud as he hit the ground. Despite falling hundreds of feet, he had felt no recoil from the fall. He was thankful for his indestructible cauldron, though he didn't actually give any verbal thanks, because again, he didn't believe in speaking with inanimate objects. Diogenes began to flail his arms wildly again. He wasn't sure if it was frustration, excitement, or the fact that his arms just naturally seem to move in unnatural ways. Even so, he did his best to focus as he began to make his way up the cliff again. He lost track of time. Once more, as he continued his way up, soon fall back down. Eventually, after what felt like hours, he made his way back to where he first saw the object of his desire. He quickly reminded himself that it was not, in fact, a snake, as not to launch himself off the cliff once more, but the object he had been searching for all this time. Would you care to be the wizard's dildo in this scenario?
Do I speak?
Yes.
No, I don't
No?
know. I don't know yet, but
Oh, I just need to shove Sterling up my ass and that's what happens, or... Sorry.
As long as I'm not getting shoved anywhere.
Okay. I'll just be the snake. I mean the wizard's dildo.
Yeah, it's not a snake. She just
I'm
said...
sorry. It's not
It
a
was
snake.
clarified. Twice.
Oh my god. Okay.
Where are we at?
He lost track of time once more as he continued his way up.
Wait, I thought-
Soon fall. Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
Oh, a hammer in hand. Hammer in hand, he inched his way up. Hammer in hand, he inched his way closer to the object. Using the head of the hammer, he carefully lifted the object into the air, only to feel his arms begin to spasm once more. Before he knew it, the wizard dildo was flung into the air. Thinking quickly, he swung his hammer back down, launching himself into the air as well. But by what could be either sheer luck, perfect timing, or a mix of the two, the dildo fell right into Diogenes' cauldron.
Oh my
Get into his
cauldron.
cauldron.
Get into my cauldron, bro.
I'm gonna move him in now.
Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh. You want to be a strange voice?
What?
You want to be the strange voice?
Oh yeah, do the strange voice.
Okay, it's okay. When it comes to building games,
A strange voice seemed to echo.
sometimes it's fun to include just a bit of magic. A way to bring a small sense of relief to the overwhelming frustration.
It's Bennett.
It's Bennett!
A way to bring a small sense of relief to overwhelming frustration you feel as a player, even if just for a moment.
Wait, can you do that in a smug British accent?
Yeah, that's kind of is his voice, the smug ass British.
When it comes to building games,
There we go.
A strange voice seemed to echo.
sometimes it's fun to include just a bit of magic. A way to bring a small sense of relief to the overwhelming frustration you feel as a player, even if just for a moment. Even if the magic itself isn't worth it, or the object is small, you can at least feel accomplished in the fact that your hard work has resulted in something.
Diogenes
You can do it.
Diogenes ignored the voice, as he always did. It
Fuck
was
you.
on.
Fuck you, Bennett Foddy.
Whoa, hey.
Fuck you.
Thank you, buddy. Just kidding.
I talked about shoving a wizard dildo up my ass. Not
Yeah,
too
it
long
like-
ago.
Yeah, but you didn't swear.
You know what? You're fucking right.
Demonetized.
I feel like he was demonetized.
Oh, wait.
I think once the
To be
premise
fair, it is
happens-
after the first minute, so the YouTube algorithm won't pick it up. So,
Oh, good,
you know,
good.
like, yeah.
Dude, yes, okay. Diogenes ignored the voice, as he always did. It was omnipresent, and while at one point was concerning, or at least worth being curious about, it had now just become white noise. Now his full attention was on the object of his desire, the wizard dildo of Einhand.
Oh fuck yeah.
For the first time since he had begun his journey, Diogenes set down his hammer in order to pick up the wizard dildo and examine it.
Okay. I'm tickled.
Fuck. Sorry, bro.
Shove me up your ass, don't tickle me, dog.
Okay.
Don't shove me up your ass.
Okay, I have to examine you. I have to examine you.
Hold
Is
on.
this a
Set down his
standard
hammer
procedure? Don't worry
in order
about
to
it.
pick up the wizard dildo and examine it further. He ran his hands along it, watching as a bit of magic seemed to leak out from the tip.
Oh.
Curiously, he began swinging the dildo around, working it faster and faster in his hands before a ray of magic shot out the tip, coating himself and his possessions in a beam of light. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. As Diogenes opened his eyes and looked around, he noticed he was no longer where he once was. Instead, he was now floating through space.
Oh my god.
He wasn't sure if the magic was protecting him from the cold and oxygen-deprived blackness, or if he had died somewhere down on the cliff. Either way, he had done what he had set out to do, and was finally free to spend the rest of eternity floating in space. Just him, his cauldron, his hammer, and the wizard dildo of Einhanda. He would thank the objects he had with him for helping him finally reach the goal. But that wasn't his thing.
Oh. Shit.
You completely ruined it, man. Completely ruined it.
That's it.
Okay, how did they both end up going to space? Because in the first one they went to the moon, and then now they
Well,
also.
that's how the game
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
That's right.
the game.
I think it's
Right.
just canon that the wizard dildo takes you places.
Yeah.
I think the
It
wizard
just
dildo.
takes you to
I mean,
space.
most dildos
Yeah.
take you places, but yeah, you know. So.
Well, they're
Well.
Thank you,
Thank
Lord, for
you.
the wolf. For
Thank
that
you for
wonderful.
the wolf.
I really love the self-awareness of these men.
Yeah.
It's like that wasn't really his name.
Alright. Well, that's
on your
it.
way?
Oh,
Are you
John
on
is
your way?
leaving.
I gotta go to play it.
Our friend John is leaving. She wasn't on camera
Everyone
for the
say
other
goodbye
time,
to
but-
John.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye. 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 Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Don't cut it.
One last thing. Alice Deer from Discord or from Twitch, I think she has the same username on both, gave me a gift that I promised to open on my YouTube channel, and I didn't do that. I forgot to record it. It was a great gift. It was a pack of 20 of these. Hold on. Where can you guys see it? Hold on. Penises. 20 penises. I gave away 18 of them. One of them is stuck to my college ceiling. It's a good gift. It was solid. It was solid gifts. But I wanted to mention it because I promised that I'd open it, and even though I can't do that because I already opened it. Thank you, Alice. All right. Bye-bye.